Hi, friends. Good morning. Today is Saturday, the 21st of February, 2015. I'm Anna Koyman, and a Fox News alert. Just one day after the U.S. revealed how and when we will fight ISIS, new reports the Pentagon doubting it will even work. Why are we already second-guessing our strategy?
But forget about ISIS. The administration says the next big threat to this country, conservatives. That's right, right-wing terrorism. That report's been leaked, and we'll have the stunning details coming up.
And your resume may get you in the door.
Do you talk to everybody like this?
Of course.
Well, my niece told me you were different.
I am different, yeah.
But I gotta tell you, you are the complete opposite of every applicant we've seen.
But turns out the key to landing a job may all be in your voice. Does my voice sound good this morning?
Well, that's right, Clayton.
Fox and Friends Hour 2 begins right now.
Hi, I'm Jeff Gordon, four-time NASCAR champion, and you're watching Fox and Friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, TV's Clayton Morris, Tucker Carlson, and Anna Koyman at your service.
Anna. Behind door number one. It's good to see you.
And Anna's voice, you're a little sick this morning. You have a flu? What do you have?
I hope it's not the flu. You guys are going, wait a minute, vitamin C? I don't know. I'm just not feeling up to par.
It's 16 below zero. That you can blame it on that. Well, welcome into the Fox and Friends this morning.
We're glad to see you. We have a Fox News alert for you this morning. Just one day after laying out a pretty precise plan to take back Mosul, that's the second biggest city in Iraq, now controlled by ISIS, the administration is running into major problems. Sources at the Pentagon are saying their plan, which entails using Iraqi troops, mostly Shiites, to take back that mostly Sunni city, is doomed because it doesn't take into account the sectarian divisions within Iraq.
Yeah, a number of key people involved in this have gone on the record, and some have not. Some have kept quiet and remained anonymous. But the Daily Beast is reporting this morning. Well, here's one particular quote we pulled out to point out what they're saying. They said that they were dubious that the partners in the Iraqi military, the troops supposed to lead the offensive, would be capable of conducting such a campaign by then. That this could take months, not the 100 days that we spent just going into Kobani in Syria to remember with those airstrikes, those pinprick airstrikes to try to help the people that were trapped there. That was a wide swath of territory with not a lot of civilians. We knew what targets we could hit. You're talking about Mosul, where ISIS has built trenches. They've built barricades. They're collecting taxes, by the way, in Mosul. They have a government there. And you're talking about millions of people in that city.
Yeah, and it's like saying, hey, we're going to shoot you with some airstrikes at this certain time. Then what's the enemy going to do? They're going to run and hide at those specific times.
Right, we're laying it all out, telling you about it.
But what's so striking is the White House and the National Security Team, Susan Rice, National Security Advisor, apparently never called over to the Pentagon, which, by the way, is run by people with deep experience in Iraq and deep knowledge of that country, and never asked them, what do you think? So instead, they have been giving their views on background to journalists. Why did this happen? Well, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer says it's impossible for people at the Pentagon to speak freely because when they do, they get fired. Listen.
This president's fired people for telling him the truth. General Mattis at Central Command, General Mike Flynn, Director of DIA, and Chuck Hagel for refusing to or not wanting to do the release of prisoners from Guantanamo. So it's really notable that's the reason that the president fires people for trying to do their job. Secondly, the missions. For goodness sake, yesterday announcing we're going to do this offensive operation in Iraq, that's demoralizing. Everybody knows, Bill, that's giving the enemy a huge heads up.
Yeah,
so basically, you're going to get the Trump apprentice treatment if you disagree with the president.
Yeah, the military officials on the record in this piece say it could take up to 8 brigades to win back Mosul, which is really the capital of ISIS's caliphate right now. It's their capital in Iraq.
8 brigades.
They're not going to let it go the way of Kobani because it is arguably their capital, and they're going to fight tooth and nail to the very last drop of blood, according to these military sources. So 8
brigades. How many brigades within the Iraqi army are majority Sunni? Let's see. Zero. Right. All right. You may be concerned about ISIS, and you should be. But the White House says in a report just leaked this week that the real concern, which you really ought to be afraid of, brace yourself now, buckle your seatbelt, conservatives. That's right. Right-wing extremists, people who don't care for the government, who have deep concerns about the Obama administration, they're the real threat to this country.
Yeah, CNN got their hands on this leaked report, which is pretty astounding. We had on the show earlier this morning to make sense of it Dr. Sebastian Gorka. He says this whole thing is outrageous. Listen.
I'm trying to think in the last 20 years when right-wing extremists flew jumbo jets into planes or blew up marathon runners in Boston or threatened after they'd executed 21 Christians by beheading them to come and get us here in America. It really is the most egregious politicization of national security. We're going to be looking for right-wing extremists when ISIS prepares to attack us. It's outrageous.
So Dr. Gorka basically says that we're making ourselves more vulnerable by focusing on right-wing extremists, conservatives.
Well, it's pretty useful, though, politically. I mean, what a clever trick for the White House to say, look, if you disagree with us, you're not only wrong, you're a threat to national security, and we need to clamp down. We're watching you. And of course, we know they are watching.
Dr. Gorka is saying that the president is basically pushing his ideology of thinking, his worldview on the intelligence community, on local law enforcement, on federal law enforcement, and it's making us more vulnerable.
But next time we hear someone bemoan polarization, why is Washington so polarized? The two sides don't get along. Well, one side just called the other side a threat to the country. So maybe that's part of the reason.
Stick the IRS on them and make sure you look through their tax records.